Welcome to Target Destroyers, where we show you the latest tips and tricks in the financial space, as well as business and entrepreneurship. If you want success in your life and business, then you've come to the right place. Today, we are sharing with you the story of Cathie Wood and what made her beat the odds and rise to fame. Cathie Wood had everything to lose with a relatively secure job and millions of dollars. She left her job to start her own fund, ARK Invest, a little business that at the time didn't even have an office. But she did so with a conviction that was stronger than you can imagine. Outside investors did not support Cathie's concept, and even her friends doubted her for it. 7 years later, Cathie demolished the S&P 500, rose to fame in the financial industry, and disproved all of her skeptics. This is the story of Cathie Wood and the 4 things that propelled her to fame. Number 1. Foresight. Cathie Wood has incredible foresight, which frequently materializes. Early in the 1980s, Cathie Wood correctly predicted that inflation would reach its pinnacle. 2 of the finest economists of all time, who thought that inflation would last for years, were in disagreement with this. She was a relatively inexperienced economist at the time, but her prognosis turned out to be accurate. Inflation had decreased by 1983 from 13.5% in 1980 to 3.2%. Cathie Wood recognized the potential in a concept that would eventually develop into what is now known as the internet. She had to scrape around often. She said that she was like a little dog under the table, just picking up scraps. So what were those scraps? Well, database publishing came along, and no analyst thought that would be worthy of their attention. So she said she'd do it. And behold, it evolved into the internet. Multiple times, Cathie Wood persisted in displaying extraordinary vision. High-growth companies were trading at vastly increased prices in the private market when compared to the public market. Cathie recognized a chance to profit from the substantial price reductions on the open market. She described how businesses were occasionally only selling for 10% of what the private markets were prepared to pay. She perceived a significant opportunity there. In 2015, she bought Bitcoin for $250 each, while also making an early investment in Tesla and Amazon. Before they were well known, she foresaw the future of Bitcoin, Tesla, and Amazon. She believed that Amazon was a far wider concept than people realized at the time. Its market capitalization is now getting close to Walmart's, because internet sales, which currently make up less than 10% of total sales, are expected to increase significantly. It will exceed Walmart. The current leader is Amazon. She reasoned that Tesla had its eye on the market for autonomous taxis and that it will undoubtedly take the lead in the development of electric vehicles. She was quite enthusiastic about Tesla because of this. She also believed that Bitcoin's net worth value, which is little over $100 billion, makes it a lot greater notion than either Apple or Amazon's valuation. Cathie Wood's company, ARK Invest, began to gain around 2017 as a result of the success of her investments, which included Salesforce, Netflix, and Invitae. Cathie Wood didn't become successful just because of her incredible foresight, but because she had a powerful belief. This brings us to number 2, conviction. Unbelievable and steadfast determination characterized Cathie Wood. She always stood up for what she believed in as a young economist, even when no one else did. Many people had their doubts about her, and many of her friends were worried, but her confidence never wavered. Cathie was so convinced of her position that she put her own financial security at danger. She had a clear vision. Cathie Wood is the sort who swims against the tide and will utterly wow everyone with her achievements. Her approach to investing involved looking for small-cap firms with strong growth prospects. The satellite strategy was used for this. She invested in disruptive potential and did not diversify much, choosing not to diversify into the same stocks that everyone else was investing in. Her portfolios were thus unrelated to the funds that the rest of the world invested in. As a result, her clients saw an increase in returns while a reduction in overall risk. In 2012, Cathie came up with the concept of converting the portfolios to an ETF system in order to revolutionize the actively managed investment industry. Everyone, though, had their doubts about her plan when she first presented it. This inspired her to launch her own company. There were no outside investors for the first 3 years of Cathie's personal business. Thus, she was responsible for covering all costs. In addition, there was no workplace. Instead, everyone worked in public areas. It was a risky move to launch such an unorthodox fund at the time. 5 years later, the firm began to pay off thanks to investments in the soaring stocks of Salesforce, Invitae, and Netflix. All of this is incredibly motivating. Do not, however, believe that conviction and insight alone will guarantee success. You must also exhibit love, fidelity, or zeal for your cause. This brings us to number 3, devotion. Success did not come easily to Cathie. She worked non-stop. Much like many other successful CEOs, she was tireless. According to her supervisor, Lisa Chalet, who is currently the CIO of Morgan Stanley, she works around the clock to make sure the team has the most complete information and a unique perspective. If there is no love, loyalty, or excitement in something, it is very difficult for anyone to succeed in it. You will succeed if you put Cathie Wood's example of devotion to work every day. Remember that an easy triumph would taste as good. Cathie invested a lot of money into her decades-long labor of love, analyzing individual equities and the overall economy. She has just lately established herself as a household figure in the investment industry because of their unique strategy and ETFs. Her religious trust in God sustained her through suffering during the entire journey. This brings us to number 4, a solid foundation. Cathie's family and religious beliefs provided her with a solid basis for her personal identity. Cathie, the oldest child and a first-generation American, set out to pave the way for her family's future after earning a summa laude degree from the University of Southern California. This demonstrates how well Cathie performed considering the difficulty of pursuing 2 majors. For instance, Cathie's portfolio crashed professionally in 2008 at $45 and $46.72 net of cost. Cathie and her clients found this to be upsetting. Nevertheless, Cathie bounced back swiftly and destroyed the S&P the following 2 years. How did she manage to overcome such challenges in her professional life? He was born with a gift of faith, according to Cathie, although for her, it has always come naturally. As she experienced numerous stock market crashes over the years, it changed and deepened. She underwent a divorce as well. She did not, however, ever feel as though God was abandoning her. She thought she needed to hold on a little bit more firmly. These 4 items enabled Cathie to be well equipped and enabled her net worth to be estimated by Forbes to be at $250 million, which is based on a conservative valuation of ARK Investment at $500 million a few years ago. ARK Invest is currently producing at least $300 million in revenue annually, so it's worth out to be substantially more than that. In addition, Cathie might be worth $1 billion because she most certainly put her own funds in stocks related to ARK Invest. The life story of Cathie is quite motivating. From being the first member of her family to ever attend college, to being the well-known investor today, she underwent a dramatic transformation. She persisted in working hard despite all the skeptics in the financial industry, and today, she is recognized as one of the top investors. She was able to accomplish what some would consider a miracle, thanks to her incredible foresight, unwavering conviction, unbreakable devotion, and solid foundation. These are the 4 things that made it possible for Cathie Wood to beat the odds and rise to fame. We hope that you were inspired by this and be closer to becoming financially free. If you feel that our content has brought you one step closer to success in your life and business, feel free to tap the like button and subscribe to our channel. Always remember, don't settle for less, because life is what you're willing to settle for. It's truly been a pleasure. We'll see you in the next video.